This is the story of Gummies to the rescue. You can read along with me in your book. You will know it is time to turn the page when you hear the chimes ring like this. Let's begin now. Grammy Gummy's voice filled Gummy Glen as she clutched a puzzle piece.
You put in the first piece, so I get to put in the last one.
But Gruffy wouldn't let go.
Yeah, but I found the jigsaw puzzle.
They tugged so fiercely at the piece that it broke. The two gummies fell over backwards, knocking the puzzle all over the room. Grammy stormed out.
Don't ever speak to me again.
The other gummy bears disliked hearing Grammy and Gruffy fight, so they went out to pick gummy berries. Everyone had a full basket except for Tummy. He was hungry. Suddenly, a rabbit dashed madly between Tummy's legs. Tummy watched her run off.
Oh, the poor little bunny. She looked scared to death.
Tummy didn't know that the rabbit had good reason to be scared. She was being hunted. Further off, the bunny ran right into a large net. A tall, sinister man yanked her out and shook her.
Nothing can escape the great Davini, you simple-minded rodent. But I'll give you a sporting chance to escape. Run!
As he let the rabbit go, he threw a handful of powder at her. She instantly turned to stone. Davini picked her up.
A fine addition to my collection.
Davini took the rabbit statue to his wagon, which was filled with other frozen animals.
That's the best magic powder I ever stole. It makes everyone think I'm a great sculptor.
Bells suddenly jangled nearby.
My cage traps.
Davini dashed over to find not animals, but 4 talking bears dangling from the trees.
Gummy bears? But I thought they were only in fairy tales.
Zummy tried to hide their identity.
Just ignore us. We're not really gummy bears.
Tummy nodded.
Yeah, we're just dressed like gummies for a costume party.
The bears looked nervously at one another. Davini rubbed his hands together.
Don't try to con a con artist. You'll make me rich once I immortalize you in stone.
In Gummy Glen, Gruffy looked at the time.
It's late. I'd better find the others. But I'll go alone. Who needs Grammy?
Soon he had found Davini and the other gummies. What he didn't know was that Grammy was already there spying on the scene too. Davini held a handful of magic powder before the trapped gummies.
Now, give me some cute poses and I'll let you go.
Instead, he turned them to stone.
Gummy bears will bring me a fortune.
Gruffy grabbed a vine.
I'll teach him to fool with gummy bears.
He swung down, trying to knock over Davini, but he sailed right into a net that Grammy was aiming at the sculptor. Gruffy looked up, sputtering.
You spoiled everything. Why'd you get in the way?
But their argument was cut short when Davini raced after them.
No more bears for my collection.
The wicked sculptor chased the two gummies, but they escaped.
Oh, forget them. I'll get plenty for the other bears at Dunwin Castle.
He loaded the 4 stone gummies into his rickety wagon and drove off. When he was gone, Gruffy popped up out of the bushes.
You always ruin everything. Now it's up to me to go rescue the others.
Grammy grabbed him by the ear.
Good. Follow me.
Davini pulled his wagon into the royal courtyard, showing off his amazing statues to an astonished crowd.
Step up and gaze upon the most incredible art in all the world. The realism is my specialty.
Sir Tuxford looked at a stone eagle.
This
is a very nice piece, artisan. But do you have one like it with the wings spread? Of course.
Davini flashed an insincere smile. The sculptor stumped into his wagon, grumbling.
Picky, picky, picky.
Gruffy and Grammy secretly watched as he read from a carved stone tablet.
Bimbala bimbolo mo bimbo bim bam.
The eagle unfroze for an instant and spread its wings to escape, but Davini threw his magic powder, turning the poor bird back into a statue.
There, this should please that peasant.
King Gregor arrived in the courtyard, along with Kevin and Princess Kala. Davini opened the side of his wagon with a flourish.
Especially for His Majesty, my impression of the mythical Gummy bears.
Kala gasped with delight.
Just like in my storybooks.
Gregor gasped with amazement.
I'll buy them, sculptor.
Kevin gasped with confusion.
It's Cubby and the others. But how?
Suddenly, Kevin was pulled aside secretly by tiny hands.
Grammy! Gruffy! What's happened?
Grammy spoke before Gruffy could.
That phony sculptor used a magic powder to turn the others into statues. We can only break the spell with a special stone tablet. You've got to help us.
Kevin hid them in some barrels.
Stay here until tonight. I've got an idea.
That night, Kala admired the statues placed along her bedroom wall.
I love them, Father. But what about these two empty spaces?
King Gregor chuckled.
We can't have that, can we, daughter? I'll speak to the sculptor immediately.
Kala hugged him warmly. Then she patted her tummy statue on the nose.
They're so cute.
The king paid a visit to the castle room where Davini was staying.
I want to commission you to carve 2 more gummy bears. Money is no object.
Of course, Your Majesty.
After the king left, Davini schemed.
I've got to find those 2 other bears.
Meanwhile, Kevin leaned out an upper window nearby.
Grammy, Gruffy. Davini's room is over there. Climb up the ivy. I'll make sure he doesn't see you.
Crawling out of their barrels, Gruffy bowed ungraciously to Grammy.
Age before beauty.
Grammy stepped on his back and headed up the ivy.
I'll climb slowly so you can keep up.
Soon the feuding bears were clambering through Davini's window. Meanwhile, Kevin arrived at Davini's door with a tray of desserts. Kevin smiled.
Late night snack, sir?
As Davini looked at the goodies, Gruffy and Grammy sneaked over and took the tablet. But they started tugging at it.
Let me carry it.
The tablet dropped and broke into a dozen pieces. Davini spun around.
The 2 other gummies.
As Grammy gathered up the pieces, Kevin dumped the desserts onto Davini. Then he and the bears scampered off down the hall. The sculptor raced after them.
Come back, you bears.
Kevin and the bears ducked into Kala's room where the princess was sleeping. As Gruffy and Grammy pieced together the broken tablet, they began to bicker again. Kevin shushed them.
This is no time to argue. You'll wake up the princess.
They knew he was right, so Gruffy mended the tablet and tied a string around it.
Bimbala, bimbolo, mobimbo, bim bum.
All the gummies unfroze. Kevin pointed to the window.
Now quick, get out of here.
As Kevin turned to leave, Davini burst into the room, knocking Kevin behind the door. The phony sculptor searched frantically for the gummies.
I know you're in here.
Kala woke with a start.
Of course I'm in here. This is my room. And if you don't leave, I'll yell for the guards.
Davini froze her into a statue and rushed downstairs. Kevin stumbled out from behind the door and saw the stone princess.
Oh, no!
Down in the courtyard, Davini found the bears holding his tablet. He pulled out the jar of magic powder and started slowly toward them.
Maybe we could be partners.
But just as he was about to throw the powder on him, Cubby swung down on a rope and stole the jar. Gruffy scowled at Davini.
We'll give you a sporting chance, Mr. Phony. Run!
Davini raced for his wagon and rode off, laughing. He thought he had escaped, but Gruffy and Grammy read together from the tablet.
Bimbala, bimbolo, bo bimbo, bim bam.
All the stone animals in his wagon came back to life. Davini was knocked to the ground. Birds pulled at his nightshirt, and mice nipped his heels.
Oh, no, stop!
The wicked sculptor disappeared into the night, with the animals pecking and fighting.
Well, I guess we won't need this anymore.
Grammy began to toss the tablet down a well. Kevin raced in and almost dove down the well to catch it. He panted.
I need this. Kala is still a statue.
Kevin turned to hike back up the stairs to Kala's room, but Grammy stopped him.
Wait! Let us show you how gummies work together.
She and Gruffy drank their gummy berry juice. Then they grabbed Kevin and began bouncing higher and higher right up to Kala's window. Kevin waved goodbye as the gummies headed for home. Then he approached the frozen princess and read the tablet.
Bimbala, Bimbolo, Mobimbo, Bim Bam.
Kala unfroze and started shouting right where she had left off.
Guards! Help! Guards! Oh, Kevin! What are you doing here? Where are my statues?
King Gregor burst into the room.
Kala, what's wrong?
Kevin spoke up.
It was that rotten sculptor, sire. He stole Kala's bears.
The king sent his knights off to catch the evil sculptor. But Kevin knew they would never find the gummy statues. Kala looked at the 6 empty places on her wall.
Oh, Kevin, I really loved those bears. They look so real. It made me think they truly do exist.
Kevin nodded.
Oh, they do, they do.
Kala spun around and gave him an odd look.